Oh, do you do you want me to? We're live. Do you want me to go through that?
No, I don't need it anymore.
Good. Holy smokes! I thought maybe it was stats or something.
Let me show you.
Look at what I picked up. We're live, Tass. Entertain the folks for a minute
Oh,
here.
sure. Well, we're waiting for Metzger to get his act together over there, everybody. You know, a day in the office.
Gosh.
A day in the office
Perry.
in Orlando.
Perry. Let me just do this off camera. Hey, are we
No, we're not.
Oh, okay. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. All three of you. We're going to be starting here shortly.
Chime in as you guys jump on.
Once we're done with the live stream, I'll show you the stat sheet that I was just looking at.
Perfect.
So hold on. Perry's hacking into YouTube. Oh my goodness gracious.
I don't understand. Oh no, we're live.
Oh, okay. We're good. Here we are. We're live. All right. So anyway, hey, we're giving away a free social media calendar. Everybody that's watching, it's not a drawing of sorts. Unless you're already in the elite family or something, you guys already get it, don't they? And my edge. You guys already get it. But anybody else that wants a free month of a social media calendar done for you, hang tight, everybody. Hello, sir, Mr. Maddox. Are we good? Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. That's I'm feeling better, which is good news.
Good. Hello, sir. Hey, what's the link that was just put up here? Is that something that they just clicked to get the freebie, or who just?
I'm glad we gave that away at the beginning of the show for everybody, so they can just jump right off. That's awesome. If you don't have the time, you
all right,
maybe jump off and go.
Just throw it. Just take it. There it is. Take it, guys, and thank you.
Yeah,
thanks for coming by.
We got some serious strategy going on here, man.
Hey, if you're not a Maya member, Edge member, or Elite member, or Foundations member, or Growth member, what's going on?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, we don't know who posted it. It doesn't matter. We're givers. Well, it says My Edge. Hey, how's everybody doing? How's September, Tass?
September.
It's the last month of the quarter.
It is, and we get some things cooking. It's always September can be one of those tough revenue months for people. Depending on what they're doing. Can be, doesn't have to be, but it can be. So, but the flip side of it is September can also be a great way to front load for a great fourth quarter, which is what we're doing. So that's what we're excited about.
Hey, let's talk. Why don't we tell all 11 of our viewers, our diehards on here, about what we experienced from a business standpoint, last week.
Yeah.
With revenues of $12 billion a year.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
But anyway.
A company that nickels and dimes their people. Not really, just teasing. But would perceive in our industry would be called the McDojo of their business, right? I mean, really would be. But yeah, it was interesting. It was, you talk about going on vacation and the perception of all inclusive, and but yet everybody had a great experience. But if we look around at the number of what we call upgrades, right, that were available, I mean, I would like to just sit down and list them, but I'll bet you if we really looked, we could probably come up with 20 of them pretty quickly that they had, And that's probably not all of them, by the way. So I think we can chat a little bit about that. I'd also like to chat about the announcements that were made and how we didn't really tune into some of the
Go
announcements.
ahead.
So, you know, while
That's
we're,
so important.
yeah,
right?
while we're on this vacation, right? They're coming over the loudspeaker, right? It was on a cruise, and as they're coming over the loudspeaker, they're making announcements. Announcements are happening all day long. And at one point, I looked at Metz. I'm like, you know, this is very similar to martial arts school announcements. You hear somebody talking, but we didn't really break conversation to really listen. I think unless it was the captain, then we were like, okay, because there was some, you know, hurricane stuff going on, and we want to tune in and listen to what we thought was important. But the other stuff we just kind of tuned out. And you know, I think a lot of times this can happen in the martial arts school where we say, well, we're making the announcements, we're doing everything that we're supposed to do, and you know, but nobody's taking action. And you know, I think one of the examples was we had talked about was there was, you know, 50% off a spa package, right? And we had overheard it, and it wasn't really anything that resonated with me at the time.
This is sounding like Metz Tassoul's
Cruise,
a lot closer than
yeah, this is the behind the scenes
cruise. We were talking about
spa
50% off spa
package, which we
package.
both took it.
When the captain spoke with the announcement, you looked over to me and you were like,
Hey, buddy.
"Hey, man,
Yeah, don't
wake
you
up.
guys wish you
Listen,
were on the cruise? Don't you
we're
guys wish
making
you
an
were?
announcement."
But no, listen. I mean, this I'm giving an example. There was a lot of examples, but this is one of the examples. And Metz, you had said, you know, we talked about the announcement, and it didn't really resonate or didn't do anything. And then you had made the comment about, you know, if they would get their attendants on the floor that are the ones that are doing the rooms, because the attendants on the floor where the cabins are, you can develop a good relationship with them over the course of time because they're the same attendants. But if they were trained to say, hey, I don't know if you guys heard or not, but they've got this amazing, whatever the special is, and this example was a spa, right? They have this amazing 50% off thing. If you ever thought about a massage, or anybody in your party's ever thought about a massage, you know, they have great massages. They've got this. You may want to check it out because it tends to fill up fast. Well, that would have resonated way more with me than a announcement over a loudspeaker, right? And so, you know, what are we doing in our martial arts school to make sure that our messages are being heard and resonate with our parents and our students, or if that's an adult, you know, school, fine. But what are we doing to make sure that those things resonate? And nothing will ever beat face-to-face, one-on-one, as far as results are concerned, right? So when you're talking to the masses, if their goal was, hey, we want 10 people to book this spa package at 50% off, they may have been able to do that with 4,500 people on board and just get 10 people to do that. But if they wanted to have better results, saying that face to face and having that interaction with people, they would have crushed those numbers if they would have done something like that. So, you know, what are we doing in our martial arts school to get the message out? Is it a broadcast email, a Facebook, you know, post? Is it a text message? Or are we taking the extra step and actually making a phone call or talking face to face? And the results will always be higher when we do things face to face. So yeah, just a lot of business lessons. But look, I mean, obviously they're doing things, you know, at a high level. When you're talking about a $12 billion company. So, you know, I'm not getting on them too much because obviously they're doing a lot of things that they're doing right. But it's just some things to notice in our own business and what we do as well. And that's the thing. Whenever I go anywhere, you know, it's very difficult not to notice what other people are doing. And I won't get into it a ton, but even on a customer service standpoint, the customer service standpoint was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And you know, interestingly enough, there's not any Americans that are on that ship as far as customer service. And take that for what it is. I know a lot of us have talked about it's hard to find good help. It's out there because we experienced that. And also the other side of that is I'm not exactly sure what their training is, but I'm sure they have a pretty darn good training program for their people. And they're on it all the time. And from the people that clean the room or the rooms to the servers to everybody, it was incredible customer service. And to think about this, that after we were done, and a new group of people or batch of people were going to get back on that boat, and they had to be just as friendly and just as outgoing as they were the previous trip, and make it an experience for that next group of people. And what I learned is I didn't realize that these people, they're on the ship for 7 to 8 months, 7 days a week, 12 to 14-hour days, over and over and over again. So imagine the level of professionalism and having to be on your game 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day, back to back to back, with always constantly new customers, and making sure that they have this unbelievable experience. Because if they didn't have that, they wouldn't have these returning customers coming back. So yeah, it was a really, really big eye opener as far as, what's out there, and the level of customer service, and the things that are happening, the offers for the upgrades, and all the things that were part of that as well. So it was great, man. Great experience all around.
So, Tass, let's go back to what you said. This is the information, this is the stuff where school owners may tune out, because I don't think they can compute, or it's so simplistic and there's a lot to it. But at the end of the day, look, all the martial arts schools in this country, all over the world, right, teach martial arts lessons. All of the commercialized schools, meaning that you are in a strip center or you're in some type of building, whether it's a warehouse, just not in your garage or not in your driveway or a park, right? All of the martial arts schools, they charge money for those lessons. You charge something for that education, all of you. Why is it that we're all teaching martial arts, regardless of the style, but some of us can exceed all of our financial goals that we've ever dreamed of as school owners and as staff members in the business, and some of us are struggling and barely making ends meet? Well, the difference is this: it's not what we are doing, it's how we are doing it. And I can't stress that enough. So when you hear that, some of you will be like, okay, well, that's it. I don't need to hear anymore. But just think about that. That's as simple as I can make it. It's not what you are doing, it's how you are doing it. If you are a struggling school owner, when are you going to realize that put it this way, if you're a struggling school owner that would like to be more financially successful, or like to generate more revenue, and you don't want to jeopardize the integrity of what you're teaching and everything else, when are you going to realize that you're just not doing something right, and that there's help out there that can help you do that? Like, we all teach martial arts, but why is it that some are averaging $125,000 a month and others are averaging $2,500 a month?
Right.
Go ahead, Tess. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you,
yeah.
Tess.
You're welcome. No problem. I'm here for you. As you're saying this, it's just interesting, because I've had some conversations the last few days with some people, and what's interesting is as we help and build people's schools and generate more revenue and bring in more students in these schools, some of the common theme, and again, sometimes I think things just happen in threes or whatever it is, but some of the common things that I heard this week were, well, I don't know what I would do with 50 more students. I mean, that would just be ridiculous. It would be too much, and I don't know if I want to grow that big. And look, that could be considered fear of success, or it's just an excuse because we don't want to maybe do the work to get to that next level. But here's always my comment. Well, let's get there and try it on for size and see how we like it, because that's a good problem to have, right? If you have an extra 50 students that you weren't sure that you wanted in the first place. So it's just interesting listening sometimes. And by the way, I've done it, right? We've all done it, but listening to the vocabulary that we use and what we're actually saying. And this is what Tony Robbins talks a lot about is these things that the beliefs that you have and the things that you're saying to yourself over and over. Well, to you, those things become true. But there's nobody on here that couldn't handle 50 more students. I mean, You could handle 500 more students. But the question is, things will have to change in order to be able to potentially handle 500. Maybe not change for 50 more students. You may not have to change much at all, right? But for 500, of course. But it's that level of thinking and getting us to the next level, which is always the exciting part. And I know, Metz, you had a conversation with someone yesterday, and talk about, like, what's the end game for you? What's the goal? And the goal is always more. Well, what can we do? And whether that's more money, or how can we, like, develop more systems? How can we be better at what we do? How can we be the best at what we do? We always are trying to want to take things to the next level. And I think that's the exciting part. I don't know that there's, some of us on here, we have maybe a goal in mind of, man, if I could have 200 students, if I could have 300, 500, whatever the number is, it's your number. But that's a goal and a dream. Well, right now it's potentially a dream, but what happens when you actually get there? Well, when you get there, I can't imagine, if you're normal, that you're going to want to stay there. I got to imagine you're going to be like, okay, now what's next? What's the next goal? I want to grow more. But sometimes it takes us so long to get to whatever that goal is, that we build these excuses along the way as to why we're not at that goal, and it prevents us from hitting that goal. So it just was an interesting, an interesting couple conversations that I heard. And so if you're somebody that's watching, you have to determine, there's this dichotomy that happens sometimes. You want to grow, for some of us, but sometimes we don't want to do the work that's involved with that, right? And there's this mental battle that goes on back and forth in your mind. And sometimes you have to realize there is an easier way. Not that it's easy, but it's an easier way. There's a better way. There's a smarter way that will get you to where you want to go, without all the things that you might be thinking of, like the nickel and diming your students and doing this and doing that, because there's a lot of martial arts schools out there that are absolutely crushing it, in the circle that we're in, right? That are absolutely crushing it, teaching great classes, having great service, teaching great martial arts, and doing all those things and enjoying life at a different level, which is amazing. And that's really what the game is all about. It's the chase for how can we get better.
Hey, let me ask everybody here watching, is anybody willing to share? Can you tell me, what is your goal for the fourth quarter of this year? What's the goal? Where would you like to end up by the end of the year this year? What's the goal for the fourth quarter? It could be, I want to increase by 30 net students in the fourth quarter. It could be, I want to grow my average revenue by 10% a month average for the fourth quarter. It could be,
I want to teach less, maybe hire staff.
I want to hire an extra staff member in the fourth quarter. What is your goal for the fourth quarter? We'll wait. No problem. But the thing is we talk about this too. We get hung up on setting monthly goals. And when you're having a bad month, a lot of times we're just reactive by nature. So we won't really look at things until the last week of the month or the last couple of days of the month. And it's funny, Miss Collier, how are you? I was just talking with her and Mr. Collier about breaking down your goals and setting a weekly goal. What do we got to do this week? So it doesn't get behind us. And if we're struggling, or if we miss the goal this week, it's much easier to catch up on a week than it is to catch up on 3 weeks when it's the last week of the month and we finally really dive in and we see how behind we are. The other thing that we do is sometimes we'll get demotivated and we focus on the fact that we're behind and we're halfway through the month, and then we just shut off and we're like, we'll get it next month. Got to change mindsets here. But what's the goal for the fourth quarter? Let's just see what we have here. I want my new location to gain 75 new students by the end of the year. That's awesome. Yeah, and so what I would say, just so everybody watching this, what I would say is, if I want to gain 75 students by the end of the year, what you need to break down is see what your attrition rate is, unless it's a brand new location, and you got to figure out, well, how many students do I need to enroll between now and the end of the year to end up with a 75 net gain
That's-
on students. And then we got to break that
But I was
down.
going to say, Metz,
Go ahead.
I remember my dad, talking to me about budgeting, and he's like, Shane, when you budget, I know what's happening. You're going to underestimate the expenses and overestimate the income. And you just need to be real with yourself. And I remember him telling me that all the time. And I think this is an important, and you're saying it, but I want to make sure everyone understands what that means, right? Net new. Like, if your goal is 75 new students, okay, great. But if your attrition rate is 10% and you're losing 10 a month, you're not going to gain 75. You're going to gain 75 minus whatever your attrition, your 10% attrition is. So you might only gain 40 new students. Well, that's a big difference in your goal. So know the difference between a net new student, meaning if your active count is 100 right now and you want 75, that's your active count should end up at 175. But with attrition, you might only end up at one. So like he's saying, you may have to enroll 100 people or 90 people, depending on what your attrition is, to get that 75 net new. But that's how specific the goal has to be so that it's measurable. It's like if I said, well, look, I want to lose weight. Well, now whether I lose a half a pound or I lose 50 pounds, guess what? I win, because my goal was I just want to lose weight. But if I have a specific number attached to it, well, now I've got something that it's a much more targeted number for me to go after. I think that's important. And then, Mr. Halama says on here, work, where did he put it? Teach less, make more, I think is what, yeah. Teach less, make more.
Yeah,
which is awesome, right? But also, it may be teaching less martial arts, but maybe teaching more to your key people, right? And that your focus may have to shift a little bit as to what you're doing. So maybe it's teaching less on the floor, but you're teaching more and training more of your team to make sure that your school is where you want it to be.
And Mr. Can-Am Kid, get to 100 students and reach six figures again in the fourth quarter. And by the way, not knowing exactly where we're at right now and what we got to do, but whatever it is you can do here. So here's an exercise for all of you watching this. And by the way, look, let's see what Mr. Desjardins said. Train front desk, start storm team, get 100 leads, 60 appointments, 36 trials, 21 enrollments a month, 84 new students for starters. Good. Okay. Whatever it is, but watch this. Whatever your goal is for the fourth quarter, assuming that it's somewhat realistic, right? Write down all the reasons why you won't be able to do it. And this is what I had I just did a meeting on Monday, I think. And I told everybody, tell me all the reasons why, if you wanted to, tell me all the reasons why you can't average $100,000 a month. Well, whatever you write down, I promise you, I will give you an answer on how you can overcome that. But you can give yourself the answer. So whatever you want to do in the fourth quarter, it's going to come down to this. Well, why can't I get 100 more students or 75 more students or 84 students or whatever it is? Why can't you? Simply because I'm not willing to do what it takes to do it. I mean, that's it. Because especially in the My Elite group, right? We know how to get new students. We know how to do it. The question is do we want it bad enough to go through the grind that it takes to make it happen? Now, if you're sitting there and you put something on paper where you don't know how to get that many students, and by the way, the answer is not, I'm going to put out flyers, I'm going to push a button, or I'm going to put $1,000 a month to social media. Well, you're just hoping and praying that works, right? The only thing you can really control is you, right? And you can work. And Tassoul said it at the beginning of this. You get out in front of your audience, and do I have to do it every day? Do I have to try to get in front of my groups, whether it's adults where I'm going into places of business, doing self-defense seminars? I got to get up at 7 a.m, or I got to do school talks, or PE teacher for a day, or set up 2-week courses, or set up booths on Saturday and Sunday and work 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday to get the leads and set appointments. We know how to do it. It's just how badly do you want it? And a lot of times we want But we don't want to do the work more than we want the results. So what we try to do is figure out, okay, this is what I want. And you got to be honest with yourself. I'm not willing to do all this work. Okay, so how can we do this efficiently and not burn myself out or burn my team out? How can we do it? But you got to sit down and you got to put a game plan together and you got to follow it. But at the end of the day, if you take an hour and you can't figure it out in a quiet space on how you're going to do something, you're certainly not going to do it just on the fly as you're going through the month. That's just crossing your fingers and hoping to hit the lottery. It's not going to happen. So you got to take time and game plan exactly what needs to be done and how we need to do it. And once you have that plan, you break that down from the quarter to monthly to weekly to daily. Okay, today is Thursday. What am I going to do today that's going to get me or set me up to get a new student? What am I going to do today proactively? Now, the answer here cannot be, oh, well, I have 3 appointments coming in today, so I'm going to do those appointments. That's reactive. If you have appointments coming in today, that was something you did yesterday or prior on why you have an appointment today. But what are you going to do today that's going to get you a new enrollment or set you up for a new enrollment tomorrow? And you got to do that every single day. That's how you become more successful, because you're creating habits of being proactive and taking control and not being reactive and just hoping 3 people walk in your door today and say, hey, I'd like to sign up for martial arts lessons. It's not a secret, guys. It really isn't a secret. But again, like I said at the beginning, look, I have, Tass, you didn't even see this because I just made it, but I have, and some of the elite clients on here will see this now.
No,
can you even see that?
big white screen.
No, you can't see it. Well, it says questions for, listen, here it says questions for elite clients. And it says, how has your business grown since joining Elite? Whether percentage growth, student count, or revenue growth. And what basically, for you guys watching, write this down. What has held you back on why you're not where you want to be with your business? Think about it and write it down. What has held you back that has not allowed you to get to where you want in your business? You understand that it doesn't matter what it is. It could be, well, I have a full-time job, this, that, and the other. That can slow you down, but not stop you from getting what you want. Because unless you have a business, for example, on the cruise ship where you're working 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day, you have time to invest and grow your business to get it to a point to where if you want to retire or quit or leave and do this full time, you can, because we've done that over and over and over with clients. But you got to take action and you got to grind. I mean,
I think that's
just
that,
what it
like I
is.
said earlier, that's a fear, right? I think it's a fear of the hard work. It's a fear of, if going out and talking to your market, whether that's going to the school system, going to real estate offices, talk about self-defense. I mean, whatever it is, sometimes that fear just chokes us and we just don't do anything with it. Number one. Number two, this is why there's consulting, right? Is so that you're part of something bigger and you got someone holding you accountable. Because oftentimes as owners, look, I'll say this about me, I just don't think I'm employable. I mean, I like to do my own thing, and that's a great trait in some respects and not in others, right? But why is that? Because you're going to get to a point where you're going to work as hard as you want for yourself, and if there's no one there pushing you or pulling you to get to that next level, that requires a lot of self-discipline. And by the way, if you don't know what's possible because it's just you, that can be difficult as well. I have a client that started with me. Gosh, he's been around for 7 years now. But when he came to me, he was young, in his 20s, and he never had done any consulting, never been to any of the shows, never really got into any of the things involved, martial arts wise, and he got his school to 50,000 a month gross revenue. And I said, congratulations. Like, I'm glad that you didn't listen to anybody else and just went about doing your thing. Why? Because I believe that he potentially could have been stifled if he would have listened to other people like, well, there's no way you'll ever do 50,000 a month in your martial arts school, because 95% of schools, 99% of schools don't make or don't gross 50,000 a month. So he could have been stifled because his belief system could have been different, but he didn't know any better. He just went out and did it. And because of that, he had gotten his school to $50,000 a month. And now he's, well surpassed that and does fantastic. But it's just interesting sometimes, like we don't know what we don't know. And that's why having a coach, a mentor, feeling part of something bigger, part of a team, hearing success stories, other people to motivate, network with, all of those things can really help pull you to the next level. And I'm just going to call it out. Going to a tournament with a bunch of other martial arts school owners and talking business is not really a place to network, because there's a lot of puffery that goes on, right? Everyone's trying to show their ego and puff their chest, and that's not always the case, but I find it's a lot of times that's the case. And when you can get around people that are honest about their business because they're truly trying to be better, it's going to motivate you to get to the next level. I mean, Metz, you and I had a conversation last night, about you personally, and you and Silverman going out, and you had shared some things with me and things you guys had talked about, right? Numbers wise. And I could look at that and be like, damn, there's no hope, or wow, that's freaking motivating. And you have to choose which one it is. But either way, if you get upset or you're frustrated because you're not at that level, or it inspires you, you have to know what drives you. And sometimes your coaches can do this as well. What drives you? Does that inspire you, or does it demotivate you? And if we can find out what motivates you to get to that next level, then we can give you the push or the hand up that you need to be able to get to that level. And that's the exciting part, man, is just, I'm big on seeing success because it does two things. Number one, it irritates the shit out of me in the short term, because I haven't done a better job of getting to where I know I could get to now that I've seen things. But also there's a level of motivation to say, you know what, it's time to roll the sleeves up and get busy so that we can get this stuff done and try and get to that next level as well.
Hey, look, here it is. Listen, I know the industry and people in general, we like the shiny object, right? We like, what's the coolest thing that's going to just make my life easier? Oh man, if I just get this is going to get me all these new students. That's like saying, I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to be in shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out all the carbs in my life. Even though I love bread, I love rice, I love pasta, I'm going to cut out all the carbs. You'll lose your 50 pounds. You're going to have people, this is how you get brainwashed. People are going to be like, oh, well, look at you, look fantastic. How'd you do it? Oh, I just cut out everything, all sugars, carbs, sugar drinks, sodas, whatever, right? That's cool if you can sustain that and do that for the rest of your life. And you guys know that most of those diets will get you results, but they're temporary. Do you want long-lasting results? We gotta change our lifestyle. We got to change our business style to a method or a system that we can maintain forever. And that's what we do. Look, here's the deal, guys. I mean, this is our show. If you wanted to join my elite and get consulting, the first 3 months that you come in, it's $500 a month. I mean, it's $500 a month. After you're 500, you can cancel it and be done. If you want to continue, it's $1,000 a month. It's $997. It's baffling to me. And by the way, I don't know what other consultant companies charge. I don't really care, but you should try them, especially in our case, it's $1,500. Are you willing to gamble $500 a month for 3 months just to see if this potentially can change your business forever? I mean, you guys got to make good, smart business decisions if you want to scale your business.
Right.
But when you get on the phone with us, Tass, how long does it take as a consultant to know, how many calls does it take to know whether a client's going to make it or not? as far as they're going to execute and they're going to do it. Realistically, how many calls?
I thought you were going to say how many calls does it take to know if you can help a client or not? Like within the first 5 minutes, I can tell that, right? But as far as knowing, look, in the first 2 to 3 calls, literally in the first 3 calls, I would say we're going to know if this is for you or not for you, because I'm going to give you a punch list of some things to get done, and they're either going to be done or they're not going to be done the next call. And if they're not done the next call and they're not done the next call, you're probably just not going to be a good client. And by the way, these are not hard things to do. It's just taking, and the majority of the time, it's stuff that's already done for you. You just have to go in and like modify it, right? So it's not hard to do at all. It's very simple, but we'll know within 2 to 3 calls whether or not you're going to execute. And sometimes, by the way, I was just going to say, sometimes, by the way, I'll know in the first call, because someone that comes to me and asks me for help, and then I say, okay, well, I get all the information, find out what the goals are, what we want to accomplish, and here's the first 3 things I want you to do. And then it's well, yeah, but, and there's the wall has already come up, and I already can tell by our next call they're not going to have the stuff done, right? And that's not a good fit. So this is what Metzger said earlier. If you want to take your business, if you're ready to take your business to the next level, then we're here for you. And you've heard the expression, right? The teacher will appear when the student is ready. And those are the most successful clients that we have. The ones that, like me, tapped out years ago. I said, Metz, just tell me what to do and I'm going to go freaking do it. Now, not that I'm saying follow somebody blindly, but I was ready, and I was ready to implement and execute. And that's what exploded my business, because mentally I was finally ready to do that. And that's where somebody needs to get to, is they have to be mentally ready to make the adjustments that are needed. And we'll guide you every step of the way with that. But yeah, the answer to your question is typically 2 to 3 calls.
So let me tell you something. We were at the Super Show in July. We had I don't know, almost 20 people or so, something, sign up for My Elite. There's like 3 that already said we're not going to continue after our 3rd month. I'm just telling everybody. But they don't have to tell us why. They told us on the calls with their consultant, that just doesn't work here. I mean, 3 out of like 20 people. And we're talking 3 out of hundreds and hundreds of elite clients, right? But that just doesn't work here. People don't do it like this. Are you guys going to realize that you're just wrong? I mean, like, at what point are you going to realize that you're not like so different than the rest of the human population on Earth in every corner of the globe? We have seen that these systems work everywhere. What it is I don't want to change. I don't want to do that. And we don't tell you how to teach and change your style or your system or whatever it is that you do on your floor. We're not nickel and diming people. We're not, but it's out of our comfort zone, right? That's the problem here. And we have fear. But it's like, I want to bang my head against the wall, because we know the personalities when you just don't want to make a change, when you just don't want to do the work. And guess what? If you join the My Elite team in the first 90 days, it's a lot of work. It's not hard work, but there's a lot of things we got to do in the first 90 days. And there's a minority of people that don't want to do it. By the way, the reason I'm going to show everybody this. Look, is this it? We're working on this. Right? We're working on this. This is table of contents. What this is going to be, and we'll talk more about it. Right? We're putting something together to where everybody can see what the My Elite clients and the success that they're achieving and what they're doing. You're not going to be any different. And it bothers me. Here's what bothers me. This is where the frustration comes in, where I don't think, if you're a school owner watching this, you may not understand why sometimes I get so passionate or frustrated. Because every day, every week, I get reached out to for people wanting help or asking questions. I need this. I really want this. I want this. I want this. And when you see that the majority of people just don't take action, but they keep wanting the rewards without having to do some of the work and get out of their comfort zone, year after year after year after year, I mean, it gets very frustrating because what I know and my experience and Tassoul and the other consultants, when we get certain information on, well, how many students are you enrolling on average? How many active students do you have currently? What are you charging? What are you grossing a month? When we get certain information, for us, it's like clear as crystal on where we can have your school a year from now. It's like clear as, it's not even a doubt. It's like, I know exactly, if I owned your school with that information and I took it over right now, I know where I'll have that school within a year. But it's a battle. It's like, yeah, but you know, it's just different, or I don't want to jeopardize, I don't want to nickel and dime, or you guys, you're not going to come up with some kind of justification or excuse that we haven't heard 1,000 times, guys. If you want to grow your school, how many times have we said message us? We know how many people are usually on here. Today's a little light, right? Because who wants a free social media calendar? I get it. I don't even know what that is. But thank you, Tass. Thank you, Giggles. But when we have 50 people, 60 people, we say, look, message us and we'll help you for free. Watch the show. Sometimes there's a million questions, right? We'll say, hey, message us. And then we don't get any messages. I mean, what are you doing? Do you not want to freaking be successful, people? I mean, in our industry as martial artists, I mean, let's go. You guys can do it. You can do it. Take action. If you can't even send a message because you're afraid we're going to sell you, you're definitely not a right client for my elite, because you're not going to take action on all the work that we got to do up front to get you to smooth sailing after the 90-day period. It's really 90 days. It's front loaded. And then it's about tweaking and systemizing and maintaining and growing and managing the growth. Anyway, enough about my elite.
Yeah, and
if you'd like his free media calendar, just click the link above.
Right. And some of you may be in the position I was in years and years and years ago. If I was now it's different. Maybe it's different. You know, if I was watching a video, right, the VHS tapes, the DVDs from Maya back in the day, and there was a phone number, call me if you have any questions, there would have been fear. And because I was young, and I would have been, I think, you know, calling and maybe asking the wrong question or feeling embarrassed or whatever. I don't know what the reason would have been, but I remember my younger self, and I would devour all of that information. And if someone had put it out there and said, hey, call if you have any questions, and we can help you, maybe not knowing what to ask. And by the way, if you message us and say, hey, I'm calling, I need some help, but I'm not sure even what to ask. Great. Well, then we can help ask the questions for you. We can guide you in the direction that need to be guided. And by the way, we'll tell you if this is right or if it's not right for you, right? Based on where you're at. And if you're not ready, if you've don't have enough students or whatever it is, we're going to give you some free advice. And so I think fear stops a lot of people from, whether it's messaging or picking up the phone or whatever. Listen, I'm going to give you an example. This happened when I first started consulting. And I was a consultant. And I think I told you this. I'll never forget when John Hackelman sent me a message and called me. And my heart started racing, right? The pit master who trained Chuck Liddell is calling me and asking me for help, right? And like, how can I help? And asking a question. And I remember feeling like, oh my God, this is like, I was afraid to call, right? I was afraid to pick up the phone and call him back. Like, well, how could he possibly need help from me? And some of us, I think, feel that way about maybe contacting Metzger or myself or any other consultant for that matter. And I'm here to tell you, you know, I know for us, we're here to help the industry. That's what we're here for. And that's what we do. And it's what we love to do. It's what drives us. It's not about, you know, having a consulting company and I need to get more clients. As a matter of fact, Metzger called me today and he's like, dude, I know you're not taking new clients, but I've got another client, would love for you to take them, because I don't need any more clients, right? But the joy and satisfaction that comes from the results that our clients get is really what drives me and motivates me. And that's what, because I was there. I was one of them. I was one that got pulled up from where I was to now where we are today. And life is just so much better on the other side. And I want to be able to share that I've been through the bankruptcies. I've been through the foreclosures. I've been for the not having, through the not having money. I've been through all of that stuff, and I know how it feels, and it's horrible. And I don't want people to feel that way. And I've been granted this gift, I guess, to be able to pay it forward. And that's really what the ultimate goal is to pay it forward, because it's not the consulting money that comes with it, right? That's not it at all. And people may not believe that, but the only thing I can give you to kind of compare that to, when you went to a tournament potentially and you took, grand champion or whatever the tournament is, versus your students doing it. Well, I know for me, when I went to nationals and placed gold at nationals, did all those things, did not mean nearly as much to me as when I had my students actually do it. That meant way more to me. And that's the same way I feel about, working with all of our clients is, it's not about me, it's about them and their success and hearing and how it changed their lives. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but that's why we do what we do. And for some of you that may be scared or fearful, hey, we're here for you. And we're just two guys that get up in the morning, put our pants on the same way as everybody else, man.
And to be fair, I think it means more for your students, because that was the year where you were the only one in the division.
Here we go. Yeah. That's right when they started with the trophies for trying. And I was one of the first winners of the trophies for trying division.
That's all I would compete in, the trophies for trying.
Forms,
tournament.
breaking, sparring.
Yeah.
Trophies for trying. I'm going to do that division.
Yeah, I'm going to do that division. Hey, and here's the other thing I want to say to you guys, because we know this too. Not all of you really like our personality, right? Some of you are traditional martial artists and you're thinking, these freaking clowns, right? Are they even martial artists, this, that, and the other? You don't have to like us. Just know that we can change your life on your business, right? I mean, we're pretty good at that. We're not good at humor. We're not good at staying serious. I have a severe ADD issue going on.
Always.
I don't know if you see me. I'm constantly looking over. Have you heard of Buffalo, Tass?
Buffalo. Oh my God.
The thing is look, we've been doing this show, Tass. We've been doing this show for 6 or 7 years now. Can you believe that? It's like six years at least. I mean, we're here to help the industry. I keep debating in my head, that as much as I joke around, I don't post, but you said something on this that made me start thinking and second guessing myself. Do I really want to keep you in the Maya team? Is what I keep asking myself.
That's a good question.
What you said is you said you are a guy who's attracted to success. Chris Rodriguez, with GrowPro and on the Maya team as the digital marketing specialist on the Maya team, and part of our team here is she also says people are attracted to success. And then on this call, you said I shared some things with you from dinner, and I'm sitting here thinking, Silverman got up on stage at the Super Show one year, and he shared our success once. Were you there for that when he talked about
Yes.
our school's real estate portfolio? And he shared it to everybody that was there, everybody in that audience at the opening ceremonies. But I don't post that stuff. But it's like, does that help? Like, if I shared to people like that, they can hear me say this all day long. I don't need to be on here doing this, right? Maybe that's why I take it so light, because I'm here because I want to be here and I want to help the people that want to be helped. But with those statements and thinking about Silverman announcing it, it's like, do you think that helps? I mean, does that help in any way, shape, or form? If they knew that we really don't need to be here, and I shared our success and where we're at right now, that I started as a martial arts school owner charging $4 a class, and where we've gotten to in this time. And I mean, what does that do? Would that make somebody be like, you know what, maybe I will call them? I mean, does that really help somebody take action?
It could get them off their ass. It could make them wonder why, how is that even possible? It could make them wonder. It may seem unattainable, but then if you say, well, what if I did half of that? What if I did half of the half? What if I did half of the half of the half? Where would I be? I mean, that's the power in that. And I don't know everyone's personalities, right? I don't know if when you see success, and we've had this conversation about looking at model homes. Oh my God, this is just depressing. I could never afford this. Versus, oh my God, this is freaking inspiring. I don't know what personality you are watching, right? But it's people resonate differently with different people. And some people, I think, may be turned off by that because it feels like it's flaunting, maybe, or like they're just throwing this out there. Some people may not believe it, and some people may get inspired by it. I think it depends on the person, the personality. But listen, I'm always about the success. And by the way, understanding the story and knowing that, because here's what people will do. For example, if somebody has, I'm going to make this up, right? Oh my gosh, they have umpteen $1 million in the bank. Well, did they get an inheritance? Well, how did that happen? Well, did they work for it? They start questioning and thinking like, well, how did that really happen, right? But when you know that you went from charging $4 a class, sweeping corn and peas off the floor in a cafeteria, making $4 a class with whatever it was, a dollar or $3 registration fee at the time, to where your schools are today and what they're going to do to $2 registration fee to make it even $5 or $6, whatever it was. But to where you are today, I mean, for me, I find that inspiring. Like I said, it's first a gut check for me. I'm like, damn, man, how is that possible? Why am I not where I need to be? Well, I know it's because the decisions that I've made, right? And there's certain decisions I made that have kind of helped stop me from getting to that level, or maybe haven't got me there. But there's other decisions that I made that are taking me to that level. So you might get frustrated, but I just know for me that it's inspiring, and that's what it is for me. So I can't speak for everybody, Metz, but it could help, it could hurt. I don't know. So you can
maybe we'll talk about it next week on the next Tassoul show.
You can pause.
Maybe we'll talk about our story. Right?
Right.
Maybe we'll discuss it then.
Yeah, sharing success.
Hey, everybody, look.
Sharing success gives you perspective that allows us to measure where we are and where we could be. So Mr. Maddox thinks it has value. So here's a question. The first 90-day outline for elite, like we have for foundations. Well, here's the thing. Hey, there he is. How you doing, Sylv?
Tess. How much? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah.
You good?
I'm good, my friend. Good to see you.
Yeah. Where you at? Lots to talk about there.
It's Drinking Thursday. He just waddled in.
I'm in my own world. I'm in my own world today.
Good for you, man. Well,
Anyway.
I like that.
Thank you. I'll see you in, I don't know, a month.
Better than the dim lights in the back, So.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I got. That's what I got.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Frank Silverman, everybody.
Thanks for coming. Go get some more.
Hey, he'll be speaking at Game Changers too in October.
All right, let me come back on. Hey, Josh, how you doing today?
Sylv, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Hey, I like that background back there.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I installed that so I look more professional.
You don't know, I noticed that. I mean, every bit helps. You need it.
Yeah. Well, when you're in your
Thank you, Sylv.
when you're in
There
your
we go.
garage,
Sinking right back
I'm in the garage, right? So I got to make it look good.
Right.
Oh man,
I love the wisdom he imparts on us as he briefly flies through the conference room.
Knows that you're on a damn stage. I guess the big camera there.
The camera, the light, maybe the. Thank you.
He's intimidated. Yeah. So, Mr. Desjardins, here's what I would tell you, sir. As far as the outline that we have for foundations for elite.
Did you just say Mr. Olive Garden?
No.
What did you?
That's the horrible sense of humor that Metzger was talking about earlier. So,
Or the bad hearing. Well, that's what everybody in here heard. But go ahead.
That's what everybody heard. Yeah, got it. So, Mr. ADD. So what I would tell you, sir, is that it just depends on the client, which is why we do one-on-one coaching as opposed to group coaching, right? Because your needs are going to be different than a different client's needs. And what I mean by that is you may need more students. Somebody else may need to work on attrition. Somebody else may need to work on revenue. Some of you're all going to have similarities, but there are just certain levers that we can pull in your particular school or an individual school that are going to get the results faster if we work one-on-one specifically with you. So your game plan may be different and will be different than the next client's based on where you're at and how you're doing your school. So there's really, I mean, if you want a 90-day outline, the 90-day outline is we're going to generate enough revenue for you to pay for the next 12 months of consulting, regardless of who you are. That's what our mission, that's what our goal is to accomplish together. But the how we do that depends on the things and the metrics in your school and where you're at currently and what we need to do to fix those things and improve upon them. Metz, I don't know.
Yeah, and you addressed it because I was going to say the same thing. There's not a general 90-day outline. It's going to be different for everybody. And by the way, you got to know your numbers, got to know your stats. We're doing a webinar. Do we have a date on the webinar? Well, I know Chris and I are doing a webinar next Wednesday. I know that. And it's on this. It's on KPIs. No. Let's see. Oh, no. Next Tuesday at noon. Next Tuesday at noon. We're
good. Thanks for sharing, Matt. Appreciate that.
Just go ahead and find that.
Yeah, there you go. And hopefully you all know what a KPI is because he didn't explain that either, but it'll be fine. They're talking about
a reason I didn't.
Oh, okay.
There's a reason I didn't explain that, Tass.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
Because I have no idea what a KPI is myself.
That's great. That's great.
Key performance indicators. We need to know your numbers, your stats. What are the most important things that we need to know initially? It's not all or nothing, guys, in the beginning. That would be wrong. Like if you've never kept stats and you say, well, okay, well, what stats should I keep? And I start running down the list of all the traffic stats and then all the financial stats, you're going to get overwhelmed not doing it. There are key stats to start with that's going to really help us start scaling your business. And then we will add on as we get into the habit. But anyway, guys, look, if you want a free social media calendar, where it's a month, you get 1 month. I mean, it's a month of the social media calendar for October, right, guys? For October, you can do that, and you're going to have everything just to build up your audience for your school, because that's another thing. It's about how you do. You can do all the money spending you want or posts, but you want to build up some credibility in an audience. So we do all of this for you. It's on the My Edge site. My Edge members get the calendar. But if you want to try it for October and have it for a month, all you got to do is copy and paste the links, the articles, just copy and paste and put it on your social media pages or your Facebook page or wherever you put these things.
Yeah. And look, some of you may think a social media calendar is not important, right? And the content, but here's the reality. The reality is this, is number one, people are stalking you today. Used to be yellow pages. They look through the yellow pages. That's the big phone book from years and years past, right? Now they can go on, they can Google you, they can look at your Facebook pages. People are stalking you before they ever come in. The equivalent of not having an updated Facebook page today is like having a website that says we're closed December 10th through the 15th, 2021, and they see that on your website today. That still happens. Like, you're outdated, they're not going to come to you. You need to be relevant. You need to be, have consistent posting on your social media. And I will tell you from firsthand experience that our team, and sometimes what happens is they say things and I hear them, but I experienced this myself last month when I was there and they had 2 intro lessons that were back to back. And both of them I had asked specifically when I walked in the office just to check in on them, how they happened to hear about us. And both of them, 2 separate families, both said our Google reviews. So being on social media, having good reviews, all of those things, when we do our marketing and then our marketing works and they start to stalk us on our Facebook or start to look at our Google reviews or whatever it may be, all of those things are giving us extra points and helping that buyer make the decision on where they want to go. So this can only help you go in the right direction. If you're not good with social media, this will give you a real good framework of what to do, what to post. It's already done for you. It's literally copy paste. It's very, very simple. And I think you guys will really enjoy it.
Well, guys, don't forget the beginning of this call. Just downloaded the calendar, way more comprehensive than I thought it would be. Look, you guys just giving away gold. Thank you, sir. I mean, we try to provide value. I mean, we do. We try to, that's a lot of work. Mr. Maddox, if you're looking at that, think about how much work that is every single month that we have to do that we could provide. If you're a member of Maya Edge, that's just a piece of Maya Edge, but I think Maya Edge is $149 a month. $149 a month. It's updated every month with new ad slicks and videos and marketing tools and scripts, plus the social media calendar. I mean, the social media calendar alone, if you're looking at that and how much work goes into that, that by itself is worth more than $149. But yes, it's free. Try it out in October. I mean, just post it. But the key here is consistency. You got to keep, you're not going to post it for October and be like, okay, it didn't work. You got to do this for months. You got to start building up your audience.
Well, you said it, Metz. We've been doing this for 6 years. The Metz Tassoul show, right? I mean, pretty consistently. A few times that we take off, over the course of the year for whatever reason, but it's been pretty darn consistent for the last 6 years. And that's what you guys want to do on your social media as well, is be consistent.
And don't forget the beginning of this little Zoom or webinar or Facebook Live, which was break down your goals for the fourth quarter. Where do you want to be at the end of the fourth quarter? What's the goal? How many students do you want to increase by, net students, revenue, whatever it is? And then break that down monthly, and then break that down weekly. And what are you going to do today and every day to either get a new student or set yourself up to get a new student? And you got to be proactive. So that would be my advice for you guys. You got to take action. You got to work. You got to go do it. I mean, that's the thing. Some of you will, most of you won't. I mean, it's the way it is, human nature. So anything else, Tass?
No, man, oh my God, look at you. This guy. Now, listen, if you want to change, man, you got to change, right? And that sounds cliche, but you got to take action. And that's the only way you're going to get from where you are to where you want to go. And that's at any level. Because even when you get to levels of success that you want to be at and you get there, it's hard to stay there. You can't stay at the same level. If you try and maintain it, you're going to fall, right? So you've always got to be trying to grow. And that takes, executing new things, executing the old things that still work, but constantly taking action. And the work and effort of today is what's going to bring you the rewards of tomorrow. And that's why we said earlier about being proactive, whether that's making lead calls, setting appointments, getting into your marketplace, whether it's a school or an adult market, whatever you're trying to, get after those things, because days of not doing those things is going to have a long-term effect on your school, and it's going to start to do this. Or days of putting in the work is going to have a long-term effect on your school, and you're going to have an upward trajectory. So you got to figure out which direction that you want to go, because it's very hard to stay where you're at. You're either going to go up or you're going to go down. And most times, if you're not focused, you're going to go down and you're not going to go up. And that happens by mistake. So make it on purpose and make decisions. That's it.
All right, guys, go do it. Go do it, Tass. Thanks, buddy.
All right, man. See you guys later. Appreciate everybody. See you guys next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.